The most fascinating celestial body I can think of, if the borders are removed, is one that may be exceptional in our sky. This one is Betelgeuse. It's a big, supermassive red star that could reach the position of Jupiter's orbit if it were where our Sun is. This enormous, very unstable star is about to explode, not as straightforward as it might appear. Even though we are unable to clearly see these massive occurrences throughout the universe, such as the most intense supernovas, they have the potential to upset everything we perceive. It is said that Betelgeuse represents a red supermassive star, which is typically significantly larger than our Sun. Astronomers like Brian Cox think it might soon erupt as a supernova. Because the James Webb Space Telescope has been taking amazing pictures of the star, people are becoming more and more concerned about the possibility that Betelgeuse will go supernova. As a result, people are wondering, what effect would the explosion have on Earth, and when will it occur? Let's examine a star in the majestic Orion constellation that is so brilliant it was seen by ancient civilizations. The breathtaking star Betelgeuse, which is the second biggest star in Orion and is located on the shoulder of the constellation to the east, derived its name from its status as a shoulder star. One of the brightest stars, Betelgeuse is probably the most prominent in the night sky. As we move on to the star's distinctive red tint, in addition to its brightness, it indicates possible danger. Betelgeuse has been studied extensively by humanity. Long ago, a Greek astronomer, at the time known as Tmy, made this observation. People's initial understanding of stars was through color. According to Tmy, Betelgeuse seemed to have a reddish-orange tint, which is concerning. Scientists have been examining the star even more closely recently, and they now know a great deal more about what causes it to be so remarkably brilliant. One of these qualities is that the star's brightness fluctuates substantially at times, by as much as 0.6. Because Betelgeuse is a variable star, its brightness changes over time. Previously, researchers discovered some new, undiscovered features of the star in 2019. Although Betelgeuse's brilliance greatly diminished, it did not totally stop glowing. It decreased to around 1.6, which led researchers to examine the reason behind one of the brightest stars behaving so strangely in the sky. They wanted to understand why Betelgeuse was acting this way. Their research suggests that Betelgeuse might explode like a supernova at any time. Renowned physicist Brian Cox gave this concerning evaluation. His viewpoint is significant since he is a Royal Society professor for public research and a famous particle physics professor at the University of Manchester. His viewpoint is widely accepted, as he publishes books and hosts popular scientific TV programs. According to Brian Cox, Betelgeuse is an exploding time bomb that could detonate with little notice. The James Webb Space Telescope has provided strong evidence to back up this assertion. Despite this, there are a few anomalies in Betelgeuse that have prompted several inquiries. Why is Betelgeuse's behavior so bizarre? Betelgeuse has established itself as a potential candidate for a supernova. With the new information, scientists remain unsure of the precise moment of the explosion. This categorization is supported by the fact that Betelgeuse weighs nearly twice as much as the Sun, a typical requirement for a supernova candidate, as such stars are usually several times the mass of the Sun. However, the narrative becomes more complicated. Researchers have examined Betelgeuse with a wide range of instruments, including the Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory, LIGO, and the James Webb Space Telescope, to solve the star's mysteries. What they found is still puzzling. Since its August 31st inception long ago, Betelgeuse has been sending out weird signals that cast doubt on its destiny. What did they find? They saw strange light waves coming from the star, which heightened interest even further, but this was not the only odd event. It reminds us once again that Betelgeuse is a fluctuating star whose brightness varies. According to some tales, Betelgeuse has had frequent darkening events that resemble sunspots on our own Sun, although the cycles are distinct. It alternates between light and dark phases twice as quickly as before, another bizarre indication that Betelgeuse is behaving oddly. In February 2021, researchers discovered that the star's fading cycle had reached a brightness band of plus 1.61. This arrived quickly after the star had gone through a significant dimming event that indicated the beginning of its bizarre behavior and raised concerns that Betelgeuse could be nearing the end of its usefulness. The star became significantly less bright between 2019 and 2020, reaching its lowest point. Numerous researchers were certain that it would explode within the following 100,000 years. However, following this extraordinary dimming, things grew even more confusing when Betelgeuse brightened again. The star became 150% brighter than normal, making it the fifth brightest star in the sky. According to physicist Andrea Dari of the Harvard Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics, researchers were shocked to see a red glow coming from the southern portion of the sky. This development made the situation even more confusing. Numerous speculations about the reason for the significant decline of Betelgeuse were triggered. It must be emphasized that not all stars produce the same amount of crimson glow as Betelgeuse. Betelgeuse is identified by its light as a red supermassive star, which is a star's final stage of existence before it dies. This red coloration is caused by a surface temperature of around 3,500 Kelvin, which is much lower than the Sun's outer layer's temperature of about 5,500 Kelvin. Despite being larger and in danger of exploding, Betelgeuse has a lower energy transfer rate per unit of surface area because it is colder than the Sun going forward. We need to take into consideration the amazing dimming incident brought up by Brian Cox. Does this really imply that Betelgeuse will explode? Betelgeuse is getting closer to the conclusion of its existence as a star, since it is now in its red supergiant phase. Scientists can see that a star will frequently dim during this phase as it dies. But Betelgeuse's recent strange behavior has made them even more interested in keeping an eye on it. At the moment, several telescopes are concentrating on this mysterious dimming event in an effort to learn more. The fact that scientists still don't fully comprehend Betelgeuse's actions makes the situation even more fascinating. The star is attentively observed by astronomers using state-of-the-art equipment. Since its debut in 2021, the James Webb Space Telescope has been one of the most useful instruments for astronomers collecting fresh, important information on Betelgeuse. The event produced a massive eruption of mass, about 400 billion times more massive than a normal mass ejection from the solar corona. The James Webb Space Telescope is a priceless tool, since it can detect things that cannot be seen with the naked eye. Scientists study distinct light wavelengths and frequencies and have observed dust clouds resembling leaves in space emerging on the surfaces of stars, a strange yet intriguing discovery. Despite the fact that Betelgeuse is nearing the end of its life, scientists are still keeping an eye out for clues as to. And for a short time, Betelgeuse may even be visible during the daytime, rivaling the brightness of the full moon. This explosion, known as a core-collapse supernova, would mark the end of the star's life and the creation of either a neutron star or possibly a black hole, depending on how much mass remains after the explosion. Despite the drama of such a cosmic event, scientists reassure us that Earth will remain safe. Betelgeuse is about 642 light-years away, far enough that its eventual supernova will be spectacular but not dangerous. The radiation from the explosion won't reach us with sufficient intensity to do harm, though it will be a once-in-a-lifetime light show visible to everyone on the planet. Still, the mystery surrounding Betelgeuse behavior keeps astronomers on edge. The unexpected dimming event in 2019 and the massive brightening that followed showed just how little we fully understand about the inner workings of red supergiants. Some theories suggest huge dust clouds ejected by the star may have blocked the light temporarily, while others think internal convective processes or magnetic fields could be disrupting its outer layers. New instruments like the James Webb Space Telescope and advanced ground-based observatories are continuing to monitor Betelgeuse, hoping to catch more signs of instability. If we do witness it explode within our lifetimes, it will be the most closely studied supernova in history, potentially answering key questions about stellar evolution, gravitational waves, and the cosmic cycle of life and death. In the end, Betelgeuse is more than just a bright red spot in the sky. It's a living laboratory, teaching us about the forces that shape galaxies and give birth to the elements that make up planets, life, and even us. Whether it explodes tomorrow, in 10 years, or in 100, its story continues to captivate scientists and stargazers alike. Visible even from Earth, as bright as the full moon, the supernova of Betelgeuse, more than 600 light-years away, will be a spectacular cosmic event. It won't directly threaten Earth, however, it will provide scientists with an excellent opportunity to learn about the final phases of a massive star's life and the phenomena connected to such an explosive event. Betelgeuse's inevitable demise serves as a constant reminder of the unpredictability and immensity of the universe. In addition to being a fascinating subject of science, galaxies' life cycles heavily depend on stars like Betelgeuse. These stars provide ingredients essential for the emergence of new stars, planets, and perhaps even life itself. A star's death is a transformation rather than an end. It releases heavy elements that give rise to new stellar systems. In the meantime, researchers continue to keep an eye on Betelgeuse, assembling the jigsaw of its future with every new finding. As the mystery around it deepens and our knowledge of the cosmos grows, one of the most remarkable occurrences in the universe may soon unfold, when all the pieces of the puzzle come together. Betelgeuse's transformation from a massive red supergiant to an incredible explosion will be awe-inspiring. It will keep shining brilliantly in the sky, serving as a reminder of how transitory life is in the cosmos. The world of astronomy is growing increasingly excited as scientists continue to observe Betelgeuse. Each new discovery adds a piece to the puzzle, yet the enigma remains: when will Betelgeuse blow? Early in 2025, the James Webb Space Telescope detected another odd increase in the star's brightness. In contrast to earlier oscillations, this dimming episode was followed by a sudden infrared flare emission, suggesting the star was undergoing a significant internal transformation. Quickly mobilizing, astronomers aimed powerful telescopes toward Orion's shoulder, hoping to capture the beginning of a momentous event. Then, a breakthrough occurred. Researchers discovered strange ripples in the surrounding cosmic dust, shockwaves emanating from Betelgeuse at unprecedented speeds, observed using Chile's extremely large telescope. This indicated that the outer layers of the star were rapidly expanding, a behavior often seen in the final seconds before a supernova. Speculation ran wild. Was this the day humanity had been anticipating? Would Betelgeuse explode in a matter of days, weeks, or months? World observers braced themselves for the potential to witness the greatest, most dazzling celestial display ever captured in history. The sky above Earth began to change in a way that would permanently alter how we perceive the universe. At first, there was just a faint additional light in Orion's familiar form. But after a few hours, it became evident: Betelgeuse was changing. Astronomers and amateur skywatchers alike stared in awe as darkness swept across the globe. The star had shifted from a blazing red to something else entirely. It was evolving, casting a ghostly radiance that rivaled the moon in the night sky. It was obvious and unsettling. For a week, the enduring light remained, even during the day. As the explosion unfolded in real time, scientific organizations rushed to collect data. The event offered an unprecedented view into the dynamics of a supernova. Hubble and James Webb Space Telescopes captured stunning images of Betelgeuse's final moments, swirling plumes of gas and radioactive elements rushing outward at millions of miles per hour. From the collapse of the core to the blast's impact on the surrounding interstellar medium, the cosmos unfolded like never before. Then it happened. The core collapsed. In an instant, an explosion of energy equivalent to billions of stars erupted. Earth's neutrino sensors detected a massive wave of particles flying across space, faster than light, showing the explosion had reached its peak. For a brief moment, the supernova outshone the entire Milky Way, an event visible even on the far side of the planet. For weeks, Betelgeuse's light dominated the night sky, altering constellations people had recognized for generations and casting strange shadows at midnight. The world was mesmerized by the cosmic drama unfolding above. Social media lit up with images. While scientists tracked the expanding shockwave, media outlets delivered real-time updates. But eventually, the brightness began to fade. The once dominant glow of Betelgeuse dimmed, retreating into the farthest reaches of space. Only a faint nebula, a cloud of burning gas, remained, where once a blazing titan had burned. It was the beginning of something new. In the years that followed, scientists studied the remnants of Betelgeuse's explosion, tracing the development of heavy elements destined to form new stars and planets. The event marked a turning point in astrophysics, demonstrating how the universe is always evolving. As we looked up at Orion's shoulder, where Betelgeuse once appeared, we knew that somewhere in the depths of space, the ancient star's elements were drifting, waiting to become part of something new. Though Betelgeuse was no longer there, its legacy endured. It gave humanity a front-row seat to one of the universe's most powerful transformations, a reminder that even in destruction, there is creation. Possibly, in a distant future, a new star or even life itself will rise from Betelgeuse's ashes, continuing its story across time. Years passed, and the afterglow of Betelgeuse's death became a subject of study for a new generation of astronomers, dreamers, and storytellers. In classrooms around the world, children learn not only the science behind the supernova but also the awe it inspired, the collective memory of a night when humanity looked up and felt both infinitely small and unimaginably connected. In distant observatories orbiting the Earth and stationed on the Moon's dark side, instruments continued to monitor the expanding nebula. What had once been a red giant now painted the sky with tendrils of ionized gas, glowing softly in hues of blue, purple, and gold. The nebula became a new landmark in the cosmos, a beacon and a reminder. From the shattered heart of Betelgeuse, molecules rich in carbon, oxygen, iron, and other heavy elements spread outward, the very building blocks of life. These elements seeded nearby regions of space, falling into the gravitational pull of other forming systems. Somewhere, in the silent darkness, a star was born with remnants of Betelgeuse in its core. Around it, Disks of matter began to swirl and compress, laying the groundwork for planets, oceans, atmospheres, and maybe, one day, sentience. Back on Earth, artists and poets found new meaning in the night sky. The supernova became a symbol of renewal after loss, a cosmic phoenix rising not from flame, but from silence and collapse. Cultures across the globe etched its story into myth and memory. It was no longer just a scientific event, it was a chapter in humanity's emotional and spiritual journey. And as the decades slipped by, the nebula that once was Betelgeuse remained visible to the naked eye, faint, but eternal in its way. People still gathered to see it. Parents pointed it out to their children. Lovers made wishes under its ghostly light. It became a part of our collective mythology, not just the death of a star, but a luminous thread in the long fabric of time. Eventually, the very descendants of those who watched the explosion unfold would travel beyond Earth, their ships powered by technologies born from the very elements forged in stellar furnaces like Betelgeuse. As they crossed the interstellar void, some would pass through the remains of the old star, navigating the quiet sea of particles that once formed a sun. They would pause. And remember. For even though Betelgeuse had collapsed in fire and fury, its legacy had ignited something far greater, the understanding that we, too, are made of stars. That life is not separate from the universe, but an expression of it. And that every end, no matter how catastrophic, holds within it the seeds of something extraordinary.